Sasuke, with those Sharingan of yours, how much can you actually see? Itachi, all I see is you dead at my feet. Hey y'all, how's it going? How you doing? I'm doing great. Let's talk about some code. Today we're going to be making a Sharingan in processing. To be honest with you, I kind of set out to do this because I was moving triangles around a circle, but then I discovered that it kind of looked a little bit like a Sharingan because I made the background red. So from there, I just kind of took it in a completely different direction. The main part of this coding challenge that I learned was that you have to move along a unit circle using sine and cosine. I had watched some pretty good tutorials on this in the past, but I never was really able to describe how it was actually happening. So to be able to play around with it and actually get it to work was pretty cool. It turns out that those little comma looking things in the Sharingan eyes are pretty much just commas. So instead of using an SVG or trying to find something on the internet, I literally just used different commas. So I went through all of the processing fonts to find one that I liked, and then I kind of just stuck with it. It doesn't look exactly like it did in the show, but I think it kind of gets the point across about what we were going for. I think it could be really cool to make a Mangekyo Sharingan, or just to play around with the idea in general. I think there's a lot of space for this kind of thing. Adding it to kind of like an AR experience, or building out something that you could print would be pretty cool, or making it into a phone wallpaper would also be a really neat idea, because you can save processing scripts as SVGs, so you can scale it to pretty much any size that you might want to do. So anyway, yeah, let's just jump into the code. I hope you enjoy. So to build the Sharingan, the first thing that we did is make this void setup method. So basically in here, we're setting the size of the canvas to 500 by 500. We're changing the background color to the deep red that you see in the result over to the right. And then we're changing the fill color to black. This smooth here, I don't really know if it works or what it does, to be honest with you, but I guess it kind of makes the images load smoother for frame by frame. These four constants are for capturing the video. You might not need to do this if you're on Windows. You're probably going to need to do this because I use FFmpeg to turn my GIFs into MP4s. And then down here are a few more constants that I made to look at the pupil. So like that's the middle thing. And then the font size, which is the size of the commas, which we'll get to in a bit. This draw mode determines the number of Tomo, so we'll see that in a bit too. So here's the logic for recording the video. Again, it's kind of skippable, but basically what we're doing is we're just going to save each frame, and then if the video frames that we've captured are greater than the seconds that we're trying to capture, we'll stop recording, else we'll just keep recording. Then we're going to set the background color to red again. We're going to move our origin to the center of the page, so this will allow us to kind of like move everything from 0, 0 at the top left to the middle, which will make things easier to do. Then we set up, it's not 1,000, it's actually 90 concentric circles here, where we're mapping the opacity around the iris, which is the bigger part of the eye. So it's the bigger circle. And basically what we're doing is we're mapping it from the 0 and 90 to I, so wherever I is, from the opacity of 5 to 0. And then we give it this like kind of like light red, white color, and then draw it into circles. The next thing that we do is we drew the pupil. So the pupil is directly at the origin, at the pupil size. The shadow around the pupil follows the similar kind of algorithm for the iris. So we build the opacity, started at 5, and lower it to 0 as we get closer to the eye's max. Then we set this no fill, stroke weight. So all these are just kind of like setting up the different variables for the circle that you see, that really light circle on the very edge of the iris. So this part right here. So this draw mode, like I said, kind of figures out how many Tomo to draw. So if you hit draw mode 1, there's only 1 drawn, 2, there's 2 drawn, and 3, there's 3 drawn. So you can switch freely between those. And basically, we'll get to how these are drawn in a second, but this is where they're placed, and this is their rotation. So each Tomo has an offset because it's going around a circle. As you can see, it's like a comma that's like moving around the circle. So we set a rotation speed, which is how fast they're going to be rotating. Then, like I said, I had tried a bunch of fonts. I settled on Kandara because it kind of strikes me as just like a bigger circle bottom comma. And we set the font to that. And then we do this thing called push matrix. So what push matrix does is it allows us to make state for just one matrix without having to affect the rest of our script. So we're translating, which is just some math here, but like I said, with unit circle, you want to move x through cosine, so we're taking the radians, which is how 0 to 2 pi of the frame count plus the offset that we fed in for the tomo, so like 180, and then this is the radius, 110. So this is how far 110 is. It goes all the way out to here, so this is where 110 is. And then sine does the same thing for y. Then we're going to rotate by radians again times the rotation speed up here, so we can make it rotate faster or slower depending on what we want to do, times the frame count. So again, the frame count is how many frames are going every second, 250. So this is just kind of like a constant that I had found worked out for me. And then the rotation offset. So the rotation offset is where it pushes each three of these to like 120 degrees apart from each other. So if you look at the three tomo, one's at 0, one's at 120, one's at 240. 0 and 360 are effectively equal to each other on a circle. Then we just draw the comma right here, and then we pop the matrix. And then, like I said, when the key is pressed, if the key is 1, it'll switch to draw mode 1, 2, or 3. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. My Instagram is @_Bramsies, and please subscribe for more videos like this. I think next time I'm going to be making something that's related to music. So stay tuned.